They was like, you won't get in the water. And of course, my dumb ass having
Didn't
too
check
much
your
fun.
pockets.
Jumped right in the water.
Sorry,
I did check my pockets, but I didn't feel it. I don't know why I didn't feel it, but I checked my pockets outside of it. I don't know. We was having a good time yesterday.
Yeah, that was mad fun.
So, welcome everybody. Coach Lyndon and
Coach Debbie here.
Yeah, we're back for Coach's Corner. We've been kind of playing it casual. We had some heavy talks the last like 2 or 3 times. I think I'm gonna put out more clips on them heavy talks because they've been good talks. So people can kind of see like what we've been doing behind the scenes and what we've been dealing with. Are you gonna? I don't know. Are you doing your event Saturday?
I'm doing my event Saturday.
Okay. Yes. So like,
and you don't know because I haven't been advertising like I should.
So that's fair. I was asking because I know people are gonna ask, and I want to put this out as soon as possible. So when people have questions, I'll be like, well, let me put the thing up.
Video's going up today right after this.
Okay, fair. So a lot of stuff we got going on. This is our way of catching up with the community, sharing things with the community, talking about things we see in the community, et cetera, et cetera. Man, today I saw a lot of wiped out people. Huh?
Oh yeah.
A lot of like just tired. Got to check on folk. Man, I don't know what it is. But I know it was one of them things where I was like, yo, everybody exhausted. And like people we didn't see, people we did see. We had the pool party this weekend over at Emily's aunt's house. Shout out to Em for opening her people's home to us. It's not even her house, but we had a nice little GID gathering. So it was dope, really appreciative. I really enjoy hanging with this community. I didn't know building this community would feel like having another family. It would just feel like an extension to me, but that's what it is. It's what it's been, and I cut loose for the first time for a lot of people ever. Yeah. They'd never seen me cut loose yesterday or before yesterday, so that was interesting.
Yeah, it was a good time. I think what I like about it most is we've had a handful of gatherings for the community now. Yeah. Most of them have been at the space here. We had a few outside of the space, but they were like liminal spaces. They weren't like someone else's home. Yeah. And I just felt yesterday did feel the most connected, the most like close knit. It did feel like family, and I think a lot of that has to do with Em facilitating the event. Also, just more people showing up than normally due to these types of things.
I think a lot of people want to show up, and I think FOMO plays into that a little bit. Like when people see kind of some of the stuff we did, people will show up. Also, I noticed that a lot of people, unfortunately, want to feel special. So when we reach out to them, and I say unfortunately because reaching out to 70 plus people can be difficult on a single note. Yeah. Right? I can reach out in groups and efforts, but it's really like that. We got to really reach out and talk to people kind of deal that's harder, but necessary. You know what I'm saying? It allows for people to be seen, be part of. Last time we did it, y'all was sick. You and Amy were actually, actual sick. And it was okay, but it wasn't, that was like the fam. And I think a lot of people are gonna start getting more on board with like just doing events in general. Like it's just, watching this community grow and people become more interested in the things has been interesting. Yeah, it really has. You get what I'm saying? Like I didn't expect it to be like that, but I'm glad it is. Yeah, me too. It's super dope. I'm enjoying what it is, And what's funny, I'm gonna talk about this on camera because it's funny. What's funny is like before when I got there, some of the ladies that come to step, Jazz, Key, Wanda was outside, and there was another coach talking about what their old step teacher. Yeah. I guess had things to say about me as an individual. Okay. Not even about my teacher. As an individual. Got it. Right? Something to say about my marriage or my wife or whatever. Right? And they didn't want to tell me. No spreading of gossip. They don't want to spread spread news, even if it is true. They don't want to be about that. But they let me know that it did happen just in case I wanted to be aware. And it was funny because here we are at this beautiful event. And like people don't know what they doing, what the impact things could have, right? I could have been mad, that could have ruined my day. Yeah. I could let that be like, what they say, and like been upset about it, called them out. They ain't gonna never, unless they watch this, they will never hear about this situation ever from me. And you know why? Because as my man said, Jose, right? Jealous ones still envy. The only reason you talking about me, the only reason I'm on your lips is because you got envy. I'm not even, exactly, I ain't did nothing to you. I don't talk to you. We don't run in the same circles, and it's all good. I'm not mad about it. I wouldn't even hate on your stuff, right? It is what it is. I just promote what I do, right? I don't hate on what you do. And what makes it so interesting is like having a difference of opinion or a different style of teaching doesn't mean I'm better than you. It just means that I'm different, right? So watching someone who I wanted to work with, who I tried to work with, who I attempted to work with, speak negatively on you a couple of years ago, man, I'd have been angry because I didn't understand my own character can be infallible, right? I don't have to try to meet their standard or whatever that nonsense is, right? So shout outs to those who remain unnamed, because you know who you are. And because of this and stuff like that, man, look, we ain't gonna let that ruin our party. We had a good time.
Oh, it was a great party.
Good time. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because I think a lot of times on the fitness journey in general, a lot of people will have like success or right before the breakthrough, right before the celebration, they fuck it up because they let something like throw them off course. For you in this event, it was the death of a close friend, right? That's hard, right? And I've been there, right? And that's why I was laughing with Em because she was talking about it. They're like, well, it's because of this. I said, that's not a good excuse. Depends on why you're doing it, right? And I ain't bring it to you like that. Because I think it was real. It ain't like I was thinking like you was us out here slacking. You needed time. But at the same time,
I'm out here slacking.
You out here slacking, right? and that's, it's because you know now. Right, before when you didn't know, like if I had said this to you a couple months ago, like let's say a year ago, like when I first met you, man, he always trying to fucking tell me what to do or drag me down. Like the intrusive thoughts win, right? And I think the reason I bring up that incident, your incident, has to do with those intrusive thoughts. I want people to realize that those thoughts don't have to be what you do.
Don't dictate your action.
Yeah. Yep, well said. Your intrusive thoughts don't have to dictate the actions. You can have action that doesn't match those thoughts. 100%. I hope you have action that doesn't match those responses. You can and should be better, So big ups to our community for showing up, but also, again, man, I get it. Life happens. Life hits hard as hell. But as we have said multiple times in here, we work like we do. We do hard things so we can do hard things, right? And I don't know what the next mantra or thing is going to be, but this one seasonally has been love yourself first, right? And what that looks like. What that looks like in different seasons is going to be different. I hope that people understand that and want to move in those seasons. Yeah. Fair? What do you think about that? Seasonally, loving yourself first.
It's definitely going to look different in season. I mean, giving yourself what you need first starts with recognizing what you need, and that's, at least for me, a big part of it is paying attention to what my body and my gut is already telling me. I think I spent a lot of time not listening to those things, and instead my inner voice was like, what does this person want from me? What does this person need? How can I make them feel better? And a lot of the time that's not, actually all the time that's not helping me be better.
Fair.
So changing it to recognizing that it's not selfish to love yourself first. You actually do need to fill your cup up. You do need to listen to yourself and head in a direction that feels positive and healthy for you, just so that you can show up authentically for other people. Because you can show love in a season from an inauthentic space, and it'll feel like love for that season. And then after that, it feels like you're not showing love anymore. It feels inauthentic. People start calling you out. That's not really what I want for my life. I don't think that's what most people want for their life. They want to develop and maintain connection. So you gotta fill your cup. Love yourself first.
Interesting point to, like, something being something you need to do, and then when growth occurs, do you stay in that same space to keep doing what's worked for you, or do you grow and do something different, right? Because that could be the difference between a lesson learned and a message missed, right? not necessarily saying, you know what, I'm going to make the change because I know I should, right? Just being like, I don't have to change, which so many people do, right? And it's easier to not change, especially when the change is something that feels, let's say, disconnected from who you are, right? It's not easy to just make that change. But what I do like about when that change is made or when those things are said is that you get a chance to do something different. So in one season, being radically honest is what's necessary. Then in the next season, being intentional and honest might be needed. And again, just that little difference could be the difference between land intent versus impact, right? Yep. It doesn't matter what I say if you don't hear me say it, to you anyways. Like it matters to me because I said it, but to you, it won't land. And a lot of it has to do with where you are and what you're willing to receive, but it also has to do with the message I give and how I give it, right? I can't control you, but I can control me. So of course, when it comes to that, that's what I like to think of when it comes to giving, right? Or like how I give the thing out, right? We sat and talked with Jessie today about like ethos, and she's going to do something pretty hard, you know, and how she needs to walk in there with an open heart and mind. And I know that is hard.
That's super hard.
When everyone's like questioning you, it's hard, right? So I see that. And, you know, we're trying to show love to Jessie as she moves through her new season. At the same time, also provide some sense of direction as she moves into her new season. And I think she's got it. But also,
you got this. Got this.
Community loves you and wants to see you win. You know.
Oh, funny thing. On Sunday, I was running. We had a great run on Sunday. Every Sunday at 8 a.m. Cobbs Hill.
The reservoir.
Yeah, the reservoir. I was running with John.
Okay.
And it was funny because he was talking about he watched the podcast, the last one that was released, where we were talking about the Lilac Run or before the Lilac Run with the dude who made the comments.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And how I handled that. And he was just running next to me. He was like, yo, it's wild to watch your perspective on that situation. He was like, because John was right next to me the whole time. And he was like, my perspective conclusion I came to was totally different. He was like, my silence was what I used to say it all. He was like, because I could have said something. He was like, maybe that comes with wisdom. He was like, but me looking at this dude after he made a wild comment and not saying anything was me saying everything. And he was like, to hear from your perspective, like you have different connections with the women who were running in the group. You know, I was leading the run. He was like, from that perspective, he kind of makes sense where I was coming from. But he was like, I didn't look at it like that. And I like that he offered that during the run, like mid-run, because it was healing in a way for me, because I realized I was like beating myself up about not responding. And that's just my perspective of coming from a space where I didn't respond a lot of the time. You know, I didn't speak up when I felt I needed to.
Yes, sir.
And for him to be like, yeah, that's not necessarily this. You know, like.
That's what good community does, man. Good community, as much as a leader gives, I think they give back, right? And from a real space. Like, John didn't say that to make you feel better. John said that because that's what he really thought when he heard it, and it made you feel better. Like I said, I don't think he was out to make you feel bad either. It was just one of those things. He was like, "Nah, this is what I saw," right? And John's the type of individual, he gonna be honest, right? So to hear his honesty affected your journey, I mean, that's it, right? It's not to be, again, being visceral is only to make a point. It's not the be all end all. And if being visceral isn't working, then you got to change your approach, man. Like, and that is exactly what he responded to. He was like, yeah, I didn't say anything because of not saying anything was a better response than saying everything. It's like, fair. That's a real thing to say across the board, right? So I like to think of it like, again, we were all on the same run, or we were all running that day. I had a 9-miler, which I did with M.
And how was that? How'd that feel?
M, it thinks she's slower than she is, right? Like, she's always like, I can barely keep up. And then when her mind was not wrapped around going on it, she was actually getting faster. So we started with 15-minute miles, but the last mile or two, 13, 12,
That sounds about right. When you turn your brain off,
yeah.
That's why I like running. It's like you do get faster.
That's the interesting part. The interesting part was like we're still using a Nike Run Club app. So when we were doing it, it's like giving you things to focus on. So you're not just in your head, and then you start realizing your form's getting better, and then all of a sudden you are faster, right? Like it's not about actually trying to run faster. It's about actually being more efficient, and that makes you faster. So I was like, that's dope. So take those two things and add them with the long haul things, right? Like again, talking about intent versus impact, what you do, what it actually looks like in space, and how it actually looks to other people. I mean, this shit is important, man. I think it's important for people to understand that's where we're coming from. So I'm grateful, and that's what I was talking about. I was talking about like again, like what was your birthday, like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And I was like, this motherfucker been getting gifts for 3 weeks, right? I said, yo, I've been running space for 2 years. I think in 3 weeks you got more gifts than I have from the community, right? And it was funny because it's the little kid in you when you think like that, right? Like the little kid in you just wants to feel appreciated. It's not about not being appreciated, it's about feeling appreciated, right? And I'm running with them. I'm the owner of space. They helped me put my party together. It was a very selfish, childish thing that was passing by in my mind, right? And then as I was sitting there, God was talking to me, right? God was like, you mad ungrateful for what's helping feed you all, right? And that's where I said, you know what I realized? Devin has brought so many people that have brought so many people so this space can be what it needs to be. And all he's doing is exactly what I showed him can help create community. And I'm mad at it because it's not the same way I want to do it exactly. It's not verbatim to my thing. And this is why I was like, this is what it's like to be a parent, right? Being a parent is like watching your child, knowing that you handed them the reins in this way, and then they do with it what they need to. And I said, I'm like, why am I so mad at watching my, and this metaphorically, son grow? Right? I'm like, my son is grown. Like he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and I'm mad at that. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense, right? But again, I'm listening to M talk about how she's feeling, and I'm like, I sound like an asshole, even though I was saying it in my head. I still sound like an asshole. And that's why I became grateful for the moment. Again, this is how I trace gratitude. I'm not above human emotions.
Right.
I'm just do with them. Right. I'm searching like, why do I feel that way, and then what can I do with that feeling, right? And that turns into me flipping the feel into a perspective.
And that's, I think, the point of emotions. Like, I think a lot of people are using them, like, to weaponizing them, whatever else you're doing with
Big
them.
facts.
I feel like the biggest reason an emotion pops up in your body is for you to do that. Like you're supposed to have the negative emotions. If you feel some type of way because someone else got something you feel you deserve, there's a reason you feel you deserve that, and maybe you're not doing what you need to do in order to actually garner that. And that's the big misconception in your head. Maybe that's why the emotion's popping up. I realize I'm not doing everything I need to do to get this thing. I'm seeing someone else who's doing it and getting the thing, and I feel negatively about myself. I don't need to go to that person and be like, right. I'm mad you got a thing.
You're stupid. I think I know how you're not better than me. And again, that's emotions, right? So a lot of times I always talk to people about, again, we just talked about functioning outside of your emotions, doing what you need to do. This is one of those moments. It's like, again, look at it different. Yes, it is different from the way you're doing it, but there's benefit in that. There's value in that, right? And I don't ever, because I've done this. I've been brutally honest, but done it in a way where I tried to code it for people's feelings, and it destroyed those relationships, right? Like I don't mean it didn't hurt. It destroyed those relationships. I'm no longer friends with those people. I'm no longer in communication with those people, and I don't think they're bad people. But it was that whole setup of space where that my lack of integrity became the problem, right? Even though it was what I said was true and all the other things, like none of that wasn't it. It was my lack of integrity around it, right? So realizing that, you can change it. You can change what it is. So I'm looking forward to what's coming next, right? I forget what the next event is. We'll let them know on our next Coach's Corner. I want to say it's a cookout, a legitimate cookout instead of a pool party. And that one's going to be crazy fun.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a good ass time. Oh yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing time. But we appreciate each and every one of you. Again, if you know anybody who is interested in joining our community, you can have them reach out to either myself or Coach Dev. They can also reach out to www.gettingitdaily.com and get their things set up so that way they can be part of this amazing community we're building right here in Rochester. Of course, if you have any questions, leave them below. Like and share this video, and we'll see you next time. Peace.